The upper room was quiet. A single oil lamp flickered against the stone walls, casting warm golden light across the table and the faces gathered around it. Shadows stretched and trembled, dancing softly with every breath. Outside, Jerusalem slept, unaware that the greatest turning point in human history was unfolding within these walls. At the center of the room sat Jesus. His presence brought a stillness no storm could disturb. His eyes held both peace and sorrow, as though he carried heaven in his gaze and the weight of the cross already upon his heart. Around him sat the 12, fishermen, a tax collector, men of ordinary lives who had been called into an extraordinary story. They walked dusty roads together. They had crossed violent seas. They had seen lepers cleansed, blind eyes opened, and the dead raised back to life. They had watched him command the wind, silence demons, and speak with an authority that shook kings and priests alike. Yet tonight felt different. A heaviness lingered in the air, thick and unspoken, pressing against every heartbeat. The table was set simply: warm unleavened bread, bitter herbs, bowls of olives, and a cup of deep red wine. It was the Passover meal, a remembrance of Israel's deliverance from slavery when the blood of a lamb spared them from death. But tonight, the true lamb sat among them. Jesus lifted the bread in his hands and gave thanks. Slowly he broke it, the sound echoing in the stillness. "This is my body," he said gently, "given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Their hands trembled as they received it. Though they did not yet understand, they felt his sacred weight of his word settling deep within their souls. Then he lifted the cup. "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, poured out from the forgiveness of sins." Time seemed to pause. Heaven leaned close. Their faces reflected confusion, sorrow, devotion, and fear. Some leaned closer to him, longing for comfort. Others stared into the cup, sensing that something eternal and irreversible was unfolding before their eyes. Jesus rose from the table, wrapped a towel around his waist, and knelt at their feet. One by one, he washed them. The hands that formed the stars now cleansed dust from tired skin. The King of Heaven humbled himself as a servant. Even Judas, whose heart had already begun to drift into darkness, felt the gentle touch of mercy. When Peter resisted, overwhelmed by the weight of it, Jesus looked up and said, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." And Peter surrendered. Returning to the table, Jesus spoke of love, a love deeper than sacrifice and stronger than death. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Then he spoke words that shattered the fragile peace of the room. "One of you will betray me." Shock rippled through their hearts. "Is it I, Lord?" they whispered, one by one, each searching his own soul. Only one remained silent, fingers tightening around his hidden silver. 30 pieces, the price of betrayal. Jesus handed him the bread. "What you are about to do," he said softly, "do quickly." And Judas stepped into the night. Silence followed him. Jesus turned to the 11 who remained. "Do not let your hearts be troubled," he said. "In my Father's house are many rooms. I go to prepare a place for you." Hope flickered faintly within their sorrow. Then Jesus prayed, not only for them, but for who all would one day believe, for the weary, for the broken, for the lost, for generations yet unborn. And when they sang a hymn together, their trembling voices filled the quiet room, a fragile song before the coming storm. Soon they would walk into the garden. Soon sweat would fall like blood. Soon iron would pierce flesh. Soon the cross would rise beneath a darkened sky. But here, in this sacred moment, redemption was being born. For this was not merely the Last Supper, this was the beginning of eternal hope.